We're sorry, regular watchers, these days you're just not smart enough. One watch that does think it's got a right brains, however, is the SmartWatch 2 from Sony. Despite the name, it's actually the tech giant's third attempt at a wrist-worn smartphone companion, and that's the key thing to remember here. The term smartwatch might sound grand, but really it is a phone accessory, and not a true standalone gadget in its own right. Well, it does have some basic features, but you're not here for basic features, are you? It's not a bad looking piece of kit, which is good considering it'll likely be in full view for most of the time that you're wearing it. That, and the small detail that it's something specifically designed to be looked at. So while the design will appeal to tech fans, it's perhaps not the sort of thing that will go with your dress suit. But it certainly shouldn't look out of place in the office or other more casual situations. While we're giving it a pass for looks and build, when it comes to features and functions, it's something of a mixed bag. In short, if you love notifications, lots of notifications, then you'll love the SmartWatch 2. There are official apps for big hitters like Gmail, Facebook and Twitter, plus some good third-party efforts that cover all the rest. We'll admit that we kind of get a kick out of being able to just gently look at the wrist and see whether an email is worth tending to or not. You won't be able to read much of it, as you only get a snippet, but it's usually plenty enough to get the gist. Be warned though, the vibrate alert is pretty strong, so if you get a bunch of email, you might find your wrist getting more of a massage than a message. But what about the apps, James? Tell us about them. I'm glad you asked. The SmartWatch 2 benefits from backwards compatibility with the original, and that means there are plenty to choose from, nearly 300 in fact. The truth is though that a lot of these aren't all that useful and sometimes just outright useless. A disproportionately high amount also aren't free, so if you persist you will find a few gems, including some good games. While Samsung threw in a camera and a mic and speakers on the Galaxy Gear, the SmartWatch 2 is just a mini Android on a strap really. While we commend the simplicity, you are somewhat limited in what you can do with it by whether it's in the App Store or not. We were a little disappointed in the user interface too. Some of the Sony apps had a sort of fairly glaring bugs and sometimes swipes and presses weren't registered first time. But let's level up here. It's about half the price of the Galaxy Gear, simple to use and comes with a healthy choice of apps. That's a pretty good start. It can also be used with any Android phone running Ice Cream Sandwich or later. On the flip side, we found ourselves mainly using it as a glorified notifier, so unless you're an outright Sony fan or really love a notification, you might want to wait a while. There's plenty of talk about watches coming from a host of other major players, or at the very least you might be able to pick one up for a steal after a holiday season, which would be a smart move.